You can listen to the Canadian Gothic early and ad-free on Amazon Music. Include it with Prime.
They were lighting off fireworks right in the middle of the crowd. Probably 20 minutes later, they came up the street and they were throwing fireworks right in the middle of people.
4 teenagers were arrested.
I've had a few friends ask about Guinness World Record of collecting hammers. I don't know where I am. I'll have my niece look into it. She's a computer wizard. She can find out anything.
It's ice cream, let's face it, it's not that big of a deal, but theft is theft.
You are listening to Keep Canada Weird.
Hi, Jordan and Aaron. This is Anonymous from Alberta. I'm trying to keep my name away from this so the Keep Canada Weird Army doesn't come at me, because apparently there's only a couple of us that feel the same. I'm listening to episode 213, and it's 5 a.m. I'm on my way to work. I'm trying to just enjoy you guys talking about weird Canadian news stories. And it's 11 minutes into the episode, and you guys haven't even started on them. This number thing, it's just... Aaron was right. It's a time eater, and it needs to go. Or at least, if you're going to keep it, keep like a 90-second cap on it. It doesn't need to be a 10-minute segment. This is absurd.
Handsome Aaron Airport. Do you happen to have a timer in your pocket?
Yeah, I've got everything in my pocket, so you name it, I got it.
90 seconds, buddy. Give me 90 seconds on that timer.
Okay. I'm ready when you are.
Handsome Aaron Airport. Welcome to episode 214 of Keep Canada Weird, a weekly weird news roundup where we take a look at all the unique and offbeat news stories that played out across Canada over this past week. And as I said off the top there, this is episode 214. Before we begin, let me tell you some interesting facts about the number 214. Yes, it's the area code for Dallas, Texas. So if anyone out there has a cowboy hat on, you've come well dressed. And anyone out there that has an interest in numerology, 214 is a powerful symbol meaning balance, new beginnings, and creating a solid foundation. And that's what we're doing here. Within 90 seconds, I'll introduce the show, reveal an interesting detail about the number of the episode, and get right into it. What are we at there on the clock?
57 seconds.
Geez, plenty of time. Whoever that was at the beginning, I think I just made your day. Let's get into it. How are you doing, Handsome Aaron Airport?
I'm doing good. That was brief. I appreciate it. I would prefer it to be 0 seconds, though, but I went for a nice walk at the lake after work today, so that was good. Enjoyed the weather. And now I'm sitting here with you. I got a special drink. I've got a good attitude, a positive look on life, and I'm ready to entertain these weird stories of our great country and nation of Canada.
But first, special drinks. I hold in my hand a flavor of Cove soda I've never tried. This is called the lemon sherbet. It's delicious. It is kind of like, I don't know, like a lemon lime pop, like a 7-Up or something, but it's very creamy, almost like if you took 7-Up and dropped like a scoop of vanilla ice cream in it. If you see these for sale, I recommend getting one.
Yeah, you see, I have a new gripe about Cove, okay?
Okay, here we go.
And I think we could spend a solid 2 to 3 months on this.
Okay.
It is very difficult to find the unique flavors of Cove on the store shelves here. Mm-hmm. So when I go to Sobeys, which is where I was first introduced to Cove, you get your regular standard fare, the lemon lime flavor, the cola flavor, the grape flavor. And that's about all I can find. So I'm kind of wondering what the deal is with Cove and Cape Breton and why we're not getting the love from Cove Soda in terms of having the rainbow of flavors that they offer to the mainland of Nova Scotia and I assume the rest of North America. I've been wanting to mention this for a while.
Jeez, I'm glad you're getting this off your chest. But this stuff should have been addressed when we had the owner of Cove on our podcast and we lifted the boycott. I think if you got any gripe with Cove, it's too late.
But there's there's only one way to get Cove's attention, and that's a boycott.
No way. I'm out.
Yeah, but I'm not. I'm in. So this is a 50% boycott on Cove Soda until they get some more offerings of flavors on Cape Breton Island.
Okay, what do you got for a special drink tonight?
Well, I'm going back to a classic. It's Coca-Cola, 0 sugar, 0 caffeine in the small can so that I feel like Andre the Giant. And I'm going to crack it open. Oh, yeah. Let's have a sip.
I'm going to pass the mic to Nita and her son, who want to share their special drink.
Hi, Jordan and Aaron. This is Nita from Burnaby, and I have my 6-year-old son, Zen, here.
Hi, Aaron and Jordan.
So we are trying the root beer Cove soda. Zen is going to do the honors and open up the can. All right, I love that sound. Now take your sip, Zen.
Very good. Not gonna lie. For 5 calories, this should be sugary.
Is that like a plant? That sounds like an ad. Which 6-year-old is talking about calories?
Yeah, well, an intelligent 6-year-old that's going to grow up to be an Olympian, I
Maybe.
assume.
Yeah, honestly, not a lot of 6-year-olds could even handle a fizzy pop. I gave my 8-year-old a sip of Orange Crush the other day, and it was like I put battery acid in his mouth. The fizziness like injured him. I saw his soul leave his body. He was so affected by the carbonation.
Yeah, well, fizziness can be intense, that's for sure. It's a good life lesson, though, is, you open that can of life, you take a drink. Sometimes it's too fizzy.
Thank you for sharing that with us, Nita and son. Let's start the show with a correction and an update. What do you want to do first, update or a correction?
Let's go correction.
Okay. This is a correction to something we said during episode 213. I didn't realize the embarrassing mistake we were making until Carly set us straight. It has to do with Dunkin' Donuts' invasion of Canada.
Okay.
I think there were probably some people listening to us talk about this invasion, and they were cringing uncontrollably because we screwed up.
Hi, Jordan and Aaron. This is Carly from Pennsylvania in the United States. I was listening to your episode 213, where you talked about how Dunkin' Donuts is invading Canada, and the entire time you were calling it Dunkin's, like it was multiple. And I'm not sure if it's different anywhere else, but I've only heard people refer to it as Dunkin'. So the whole time hearing Dunkin's with a plural just felt really off to me. So maybe somebody else, if they feel differently, can call in and correct me, but pretty sure everyone around here at least calls it Dunkin', singular.
Now, I don't know if it was me making the mistake or you or both of us. I've always thought of it as Dunkin's. But then when I got this voicemail, I went and looked, and even their logo is like Dunkin' apostrophe. But in my mind, it was Dunkin's apostrophe.
Okay.
Calling it Dunkin' Donuts sounds right, but just going like, I'm going to grab a coffee at Dunkin'.
Because it's Dunkin' as in like dunking a donut in coffee, right?
Yeah.
It's not a man's,
Not the
it's
owner
not
of
a
the
man's
company.
name,
Yeah.
Duncan. So it would only be plural if it was like, Duncan's, welcome to Duncan's. My name is Duncan. But I know they stopped calling it donuts. It seemed like they just went with Dunkin'.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it used to be the logo was like the word Dunkin', and then underneath it the word donuts. Dunkin'
But
Donuts.
but it does feel weird to say now, since they only want us referring to it as Dunkin'. It feels weird to say, yeah, I'm going to go down the Dunkin' and pick up some coffee.
Yeah.
It should be, I'm going down the Dunkin's and picking up some coffee.
Yeah, and the more you say it, the odder it is. But that's our correction. Before we get into an entire collection of news stories, let's provide an update to one of the stories we discussed last week. In episode 213, we were left scratching our head at the theft of over 100 liters of ice cream from a longtime eatery in Cambridge, Ontario. Well, since we hit publish on episode 213, that story continued to evolve in some dramatic ways. Let's hear about the ice cream heist arrest in Cambridge, Ontario.
It's business as usual at LA Frank's just a couple of weeks after 25 to 30 tubs of ice cream were stolen.
It's ice cream, let's face it, it's not that big of a deal, but theft is theft.
Waterloo Regional Police determined thieves stole roughly $1,600 worth of soda and ice cream, and there was approximately $500 in property damage. A tough blow for a small business which the community recognized.
We've had a lot of customer support, a lot of feedback.
As LA Franks work to get back on track, Waterloo Regional Police have been working in the background to find those responsible. Earlier today, police announced they had arrested and charged a 38-year-old Cambridge man with several offenses. They also issued an arrest warrant for a 45-year-old Cambridge man. Police also released these photos. Investigators are looking to identify a third person who is described as a white man, last seen wearing a dark jacket with white trim, military-style pants, and a dark-colored toque.
I guess the big question for me is, what did you do with all the ice cream? That's what people have been asking me. I don't believe it's something that they stole to sell. Maybe it's floating down the river. Maybe they got sore tummies.
In the meantime, LA Frank staff have replenished their stolen supply. The damaged locks have been replaced and security cameras are rolling. But they say they wouldn't have been able to rebound so quickly without the generosity of others.
So by the sounds of it, about 1.5 down. One guy's arrested. There's a warrant out for a second guy. Then the third guy, they don't know who he is yet, so they don't have a warrant for him, but they do have some pretty clear photos of the guy. They gave the description in that news clip, but they left out the fact that he was last seen on a pedal bike leaving the scene. So did they do this whole robbery on bikes? I can't imagine. It must have been a vehicle with two guys and then another guy on a bike for whatever reason left behind.
Well, the supervisor rides a bike, so the supervisor is just kind of checking in on the crime, making sure everything is going according to plan, and then ducking out.
Okay.
They're not a part of hauling the ice cream, driving the trucks, or anything. Maybe they just needed one extra arm to carry one extra tub of ice cream.
That's it. Yeah. I'm glad they are taking it seriously. The owner of the business that we heard in that news clip there, he's handling it like a champ. He's got seems like a good attitude about it, but it is probably great advertising for him. But it would be a breach of, not privacy, but just like a feeling of betrayal that someone would do this to you.
Mm-hmm. Are you suggesting, though, something you said there really made me pause, was when you said he's getting a lot of advertising out of this.
The owner of the business.
Maybe, yeah. Do you think maybe he arranged this crime himself? Hired some thugs to come in and steal some ice cream, and then he knew he'd get on the news, and he knew he would get all this attention and then sell a lot more ice cream because of it.
Well, I'm not implying that that's what I think happened, but that would work for a business owner to do that. But I think if you have hundreds of liters of ice cream that you're willing to sacrifice for publicity, I think there's more interesting things you could do with that ice cream than stage a break-in.
What else would you do with the ice cream? Have an ice cream eating contest?
Yeah, that's one idea. We talked about Drake building a tower of ice cubes in the middle of Toronto to promote his new album or whatever, the release date. What if he did something similar like that with ice cream? You took hundreds of liters of ice cream and filled a hot tub in downtown Cambridge and had a coupon or a ticket in there for half price at LA Frank's for whoever could, get in the hot tub of delicious Shaw's ice cream.
Half price to be completely covered in sticky melted ice cream. That's a terror.
On a hot day.
You're a man of great ideas, but that's on a hot day. Yeah, just go shower under a garden hose.
Well,
that sounds like an awful thing to do for only 50% off. I could see a year's free hot dogs or a year's free milkshakes or whatever.
Sure, but
50% off coupon. The coupon itself had better be in airtight Ziploc bags too, because it's going to be disgusting itself and all torn apart by the time somebody finds it.
That's a good point. Well, we can work on what the deal would be, but you get my idea. Would that be a more interesting publicity stunt than there was a break-in and they took our ice cream?
No, because what's so brilliant about this one is that it really tugs at people's heartstrings where they see a small business being robbed like that.
Yeah, it's true.
And then they want to give their business to them because they feel bad, because they know they lost money. And so it brings all of that type of attention. that type of charity from people.
But do you think that sympathy for the small business owner who is robbed, is that a greater power than the power of watching some chaos, like a grown man trying to get to the bottom of a hot tub full of ice cream for a coupon?
It sounds like an insurance nightmare. Somebody's going to completely drown in ice cream and
it'll be all over the news, and LA Franks will be franchised all over the states. I want to move on to one more voicemail because we got a good one here. You talked last week about this craziness and what they're doing with the ice cream, and maybe it's some kind of like Trailer Park Boys like spin-off idea, and that makes a lot of sense. I could see the guys in Trailer Park Boys stealing ice cream and starting an ice cream stand. We have a listener named Sarah who has another idea, and as a dad of some younger kids, this one really hits home for me.
Hey guys, it's Sarah here from Alberta. Just a quick comment on your story about the ice cream and butter thefts. You guys said that this would only happen on something like Trailer Park Boys, but as a mother of toddlers, I have to tell you that this would also happen on the Paw Patrol, and the perpetrator would definitely be Mayor Humdinger. So I think that perhaps Canada has its own personal Mayor Humdinger, and he is responsible for the ice cream thefts. And hopefully you cannot hear my husband snoring in the background of my message.
I always like a late night voicemail. Usually they're whispered though, so next time maybe whisper it, Sarah, but it's cool that you took time out from sleeping to remind me of some of the hijinks of Mayor Humdinger on Paw Patrol.
Yeah, I'm not familiar with Paw. I mean, I know it exists. I've heard of it, but I've never watched it. I don't know who the characters are.
Either way, I think the police are getting to the bottom of this. They're going to get the guys and figure out what was happening. It does sound like organized crime to some level if 3 of them are involved. But I think as this episode progresses and we get to some of the other stories we're going to be discussing, one of those stories is going to bring us back to Cambridge, Ontario. And I think our opinions on this story may change slightly. Let's take our first break. When we get back, we'll get into our first batch of stories, and they're on a theme we always enjoy: large collections of unexpected things in unusual places. We'll get into that after a short break. Handsome Air and Airport, Keep Canada Weird often brings us collections of unusual things in unexpected places. And tonight, in episode 214, it's going to happen again. Let's start with a large collection of poems. Is that unexpected?
Yeah, I wasn't here to keep Canada poetic.
Well, we're going to. A Dartmouth man has turned an old payphone into a neighborhood poetry machine, giving a piece of dead public infrastructure a second life. Here's the story of the poetry phone of Dartmouth, Nova Scotia.
Remember, by Christina Rossetti. Remember me when I am gone away.
Peter Nightingale wanted to give something back to the community while repurposing old technology.
First of all, the poetry phone, I kind of think of it as kind of like the next level version of the little free libraries that you see around the city. I did this just because I think, a payphone is something that doesn't really have a purpose anymore. You still see them all over the city, but you never really interact with them.
The community has embraced it.
Oh, it's great. I think it's a nice opportunity to hear different poems and art, and yeah, it's always good to be exposed to literature and have free access, and it's just kind of fun. It looks cute and it's inviting.
It's something different every day. It kind of gives maybe something for people to look forward to on their morning walks, or just something you wouldn't expect to see.
Thank you for visiting the Payphone Project. Please come back each day to hear a new poem.
The 30-second poems phone in anything from ballads to blank verse.
Usually see people listening to it from inside. I'm not usually inside my house, but usually I see big smiles and people are happy to see something like that in our neighborhood.
That's been pretty positive. So I'm getting about 10 calls a day to the phone. Had a couple of people leave me voicemails with some good feedback, and ran into some of my neighbors who have enjoyed seeing it, and lots of people stopping by.
There is an option to leave Nightingale a message.
Whether you like the project, or whether you have a suggestion, or whether you have an idea for a poem you'd like to hear recorded, or maybe you're a poet and you'd like to leave me a voicemail of your poem that can go on the poetry line. Really, anything people want to share with me, I'd love to get the feedback.
Every day there is a new poem on the phone, and while no coins are required, if you do feel like popping in a quarter, well, funding will go to keep this project alive.
I don't know what I think about this. They didn't make it perfectly clear in the clip there, but this is installed on his front lawn, like it's on his property.
Mm-hmm.
So he must have paid to set it up, and it looks just like a regular payphone like in a little booth, and there's a sign that says free poetry with the payphone.
Yeah, because I guess when I first heard this story, I was thinking for some reason that this was an old payphone that he converted into this, like that it was already somewhere out in the wild. But I guess he got this and put it in his yard for people to use.
And then he must have wires and stuff going to it. This must have cost this guy a little bit to set this up.
Yeah, well, that's why he's still accepting quarters into the phone as donations, because it's probably expensive.
I was thinking, though, could this not be pretty confusing for, a senior citizen walking by? There's an emergency, they need a phone. Yeah, there's a free poetry sign.
Trying to call 911, and he just keeps hearing, the rain fell onto my face like a slippery snake.
It's like, what is happening? I could see that being an issue, but it is on his front lawn. I guess he can do whatever he wants with it. He described it as kind of like an improved version of the little libraries. I don't know if that's a phenomenon around the world, but around Nova Scotia, I see a lot of them. And it's basically like you build, almost looks like a big birdhouse that has a little door, and you put books in it, and it's just like a free public library. I'm sure you've seen them, but there's probably people listening who would have no idea what we were talking about if I didn't just explain that.
Yeah, they do them with like pantries as well, like community pantries.
Oh, and
they'll
put
be,
food
like,
in?
similar, and you put like canned goods in and things, non-perishable items. But the thing that worries me the most about this project, I like the idea. I think it's cool. And I think it's positive and productive. However, I think it's ripe for vandalism. And that's my biggest concern, is that the puberty problem, teenagers who are infected are going to attack this phone and do God knows what to it.
I think they just walk right past it. So like one of them will take a piss on it.
I think they'll draw stuff on it. They'll tag it for sure. They'll put their little tag symbols on it, and then they'll draw other stuff.
Mm-hmm. That's a good point.
Like J plus A forever.
Of all the things that you could have on this, like I think calling, picking up the phone and hearing some message or whatever, that's kind of cool, and that's got my interest. But if that message is just like a robo voice reading some old boring poem, that's underwhelming. There's so many better things that could be there. Like, I don't know, a little piece of music, or even like lyrics for popular songs or something. I think that would be more interesting.
Sounds like you hate poetry. We're just so inundated with music all of the time, 24/7. Every corner we turn is music, music, music. But poetry doesn't get the same attention. So it is nice, even if it's not your favorite poetry, or if it's not something, it's short. It's something somebody wrote that you would have never heard in any other circumstance ever in your life.
Yeah, that's a good point. Maybe I shouldn't be so negative about it. I like anyone who's doing something unique and different, and this guy seems to be. I've never heard of a poetry phone like this, but I have heard of other things similar. We talked once upon a time, I don't remember what episode number it was, probably about a year ago or so. There was something, I think it was called the wind phone.
It was a phone to God or something, or
it was just basically like a payphone in a park that wasn't hooked up to anything, and the idea was you could lift up the receiver, your loved ones that you've lost. I think that was. Oh
yeah, maybe it was messages for the afterlife or something. I don't know. It was some kind of a thing.
But either way, cool story. Yeah. Well, I don't know if it's a cool story. Either way, interesting thing.
It's no shock that Mr. Numbers hates poetry.
Let's move on to a story that involves a large collection of unexpected things that I think we're both going to enjoy. This one's about hammers. A man in Pinehurst, Nova Scotia, has spent the last 35 years collecting, restoring, and preserving hammers. Dale Penny thinks there's about 6,000 of them. Here's the story of a Nova Scotia man with 6,000 hammers.
Hi, my name is Dale Penny. I live in Pinehurst, Nova Scotia, and I collect hammers for the last 35 years. I started collecting tools because I didn't want to see all these hammers thrown away with modernization, and I love cleaning up hammers and making handles. I've probably reached at least 6,000 here in my workshop. I enjoy doing it. My first hammer a friend gave me, and it needed a handle, and I fixed it up for him, and I kept on going. I have spent hours and hours cleaning up tools. Anything you see here with a new handle, I probably made it. Or one of my friends used to make them, and they're all gone now. Some people give me hammers, and I go to yard sales. I have friends pick them up for me. So it's a great hobby. It's 8 ounce, 12 ounce, 10 ounce, 20 ounce, 24 ounce. It's amazing how many different types of hammers there was out there. Well, I like the S-wing hammers. They got a leather handle. They're kind of, to me, they're the Cadillac of hammers. And this is a solid brass claw hammer. Pretty rare, it's the only one I got. Right. My wife used to call me Hammerhead. You never throw nothing away, you fix it and keep it. So I'm enjoying it. And I enjoy people. Some people can't believe what is here, because there are over 6,000 hammers here. I've had a few friends ask about Guinness World Record of collecting hammers. I don't know where I am. I'll have my niece look into it. She's a computer wizard. She can find out anything. If anybody wants to stop in and have a look at my collection, welcome to see them.
Oh, man, that has got to be some of the best audio the Canadian media has ever produced. The reporter reporting on that story doesn't say a word. The man just lets rip his passion for all things hammers. I love that guy.
Yeah, because he didn't want to be interviewed. So what happened is his wife wrote out exactly what to say on a piece of paper, and that's his delivery of the entire thing.
I don't know. I think it was sincere.
It's like he's just reading this piece of paper that his wife gave him. It's like, my name is so-and-so. I like hammers. I started collecting hammers because people were throwing hammers at me. No. So then I started keeping the hammers. Now I have 6,000 hammers.
I don't think that's the case at all. I think the reporter just held the microphone to this man's face and said, tell us about your hammer collection. And that's probably...
I don't think it went down.
I think that's like, that 2 minutes is probably edited down from like 14 minutes of him just going on. It was kind of like that scene in Forrest Gump, like Bubba Gump's talking about all the different things you could do with shrimp.
Yeah.
This is the hammer's equivalent of it. He was so passionate.
26-inch hammer, 45-inch hammer, 8-ounce hammer.
And then at the end, when he says, like, if you want to see my hammers, come see them. I think that was absolutely sincere. This man would love a knock on his door and just be like, sir, I'd like to go see some of your hammers. Show me the handles that you made and, the different types of hammers. I bet you he would put his shoes on and go right out to the shed with you.
Yeah, no, totally. Totally he would. Sounds like it. I'm happy for his hammer collection. It's pretty impressive. And it seems like he really enjoys it.
Is it more impressive than the lady who had the large collection of the steamy novels, the spicy novels?
Yes, 100%, a million times better than her collection of romance novels, because she didn't read all of her romance novels. She just bought a bunch of romance novels.
This guy's like restoring them, making new handles.
Yeah, each one comes into his care, and then he restores them and fixes them and gives them love and attention and all of these things that you do to a collection. And So every piece has a story and has a unique aspect to it, and has a measurement and
and a weight and a purpose. I bet you this man has something he could say about every one of those hammers. He probably remembers where he got each and every one of them, despite this hobby of his spanning 25 or 35 years or whatever it was. My hat's off to this guy.
Yeah, I really enjoyed Hammer, the one-man show.
He's gonna get. What did he say? It was his granddaughter who's the computer whiz. He's gonna get her to
She's
figure
a computer whiz. Yeah,
she can do anything on there. He's gonna get her to figure out if he has the Guinness Book of World Records record for most hammers.
She's a computer whiz. She'll figure it out. We need to hire her on the show actually once.
To help us with some stuff.
Just to help us with some internet stuff.
Yeah. Well, we don't Google on the show, but it would be interesting if we had a computer whiz like her, kind of over our shoulders here, correcting us on the fly. We wouldn't be saying Duncan's all week.
No, because you and I can't figure out. We're not computer whizzes, so we can't figure that out. But to have someone on staff that is a computer whiz that could figure all of that out for us, we wouldn't be making near the mistakes that we do now.
Mm-hmm. That's the issue. It's the learning curve. It's just too high. There needs to be more news stories like this. There's all this stuff about, what CBC reports on and the government pays them and all this stuff. Why can't they have like a mandate where CBC once a day has to do like a deep dive on a guy like this who has a bizarre thing about them that is so unexpected and unusual? There's stories like this in every small town. Not so much about collections of hammers, but just, something like this. And I love when I come across a story like this. It's the bread and butter of Keep Canada Weird.
Here's a question I have. What took them so long to tell this story? Why now? Why not tell it at 5,000 hammers? Why didn't they tell this story at 4,000 hammers? Still,
because 6,000 is an unusual milestone, and I don't think the amount of time was the milestone. I think he's been doing it for 35 years, so should have done this either do it at the 5,000th hammer or do it at the 25-year anniversary. Not 6,000 hammers at 35 years. You missed your mark. Media.
Yeah. I wonder what broke the story for them. Was it his daughter is a computer whiz. She might have used the internet to get the information of him to the news outlets.
That's it. Let's put a bow on this segment of the show. This was some unusual collections of things in unexpected places. Let's take our second and final break. And when we get back, we have a duo of stories related to fireworks of all things. Have we ever covered a fireworks story that you can recall?
Not off the top of my head, but I'm sure we must have on this show. You know who could figure out if we did?
A computer wizard?
Yeah.
They go to. Yeah, you're right. Let's take a quick break. When we get back, we will pick up the slack on fireworks stories. Handsome Aaron Airport. We got a duo of stories related to fireworks, and these are wild ones. Let's start in Etobicoke. Firefighters were called to Fat Boy Fireworks in Etobicoke early Monday morning after an unoccupied vehicle crashed through the storefront. The situation escalated into a full structure fire with responding crews facing heavy fire from the building's explosive contents. Here's the story of the fire at Fat Boy's Fireworks in Etobicoke.
In an especially dangerous and tricky maneuver, firefighters battled both flames and fireworks at an Etobicoke strip mall early this morning. Crews were called to the shop called Fat Boy Fireworks and the adjacent Fat Boy E-Vapes just before 1 this morning on Albion Road and Highway 27. Fire crews were able to take down the flames and no injuries were reported. But the owners of nearby businesses say the damage is extensive, especially as fire burned through the roof.
There's a big loss for all of us. The whole plaza is now shut down. We can't do any business anymore yet.
Surinder Suri runs the accounting practice next door. He says Fat Boy Fireworks has been a good neighbor for the past 10 years, and he was shocked to learn the news this morning.
So fireworks unit, they had 2 units. They are already done, and my roof is also looks like they're working on it. So I don't know how much damage we have inside yet.
Oh, the alarm went off, and I have access remotely to the camera, and I look at and I saw firemen inside the clinic. I came here right away. There's water everywhere.
And questions remain on how exactly the fire began. A silver car is still sitting in the wreckage of the building after it reportedly rammed through a set of doors into the side of the shop that sells fireworks year-round. But officials say the driver was nowhere to be seen when they arrived, and it's not clear if the crash was deliberate or not.
We can't believe, that somebody could do that.
Oh, some of the video in that news clip looks like a war zone. You just see the strip, like flames roaring above the strip mall with fireworks just shooting in every direction. It's a wild scene.
Well, imagine you're a firefighter and you're fighting a fire while also getting shot at the same time.
With Roman candles, yeah. And the amount of just like noise and chaos. And then when a firework goes off, you're like, whoa, firework. But then the firework, may fly past you, but then that explodes and shoots things in every other direction. So it's just like explosions ricocheting all over the place. It's kind of surprising that nobody got hurt in this.
And may I address the elephant in the fireworks shop here? But what's the deal with the car that drove into the shop? Any information on that? Do you have a license plate? Maybe that's a clue. Maybe it's what's going on with that.
Yeah, well, they're definitely looking into it. And they refer to it as an unoccupied vehicle, but I'm sure that means when they showed up, no one was in the vehicle. Someone must have been in it when it drove into the building.
Yeah, are they unrelated incidents,
They must be on it. Do you think it's like an inside job, or was it just somebody who got in a car accident and took off, and it just so happened that their car went into the worst possible business?
Yeah, I don't know. The news reporter didn't seem to really care about the car at all. They brushed past it, but to me, it's like whoever started the fire, that's their car.
Mm-hmm.
So talk a bit more about that. That's probably a pretty interesting and important fact about the story.
I think 9 times out of 10, when something crazy like this happens with a car, it's a stolen car.
Either way.
What about this? Here's the other elephant in the room. What kind of business strategy is it to diversify your businesses so that you have a fireworks shop and an e-vape shop?
Who's also directly next to an accountant's business.
Yeah, it's just a really strange little plaza.
Yeah.
The word plaza, I call it a strip mall where it's a series of businesses in a strip.
Yeah.
Often they use the word plaza. When you hear the word plaza, you know it's going to be a crappy place.
I also hear it referred to as a mini mall.
Yeah. Not a mall at all. A plaza, a mini mall, a strip mall. These aren't malls.
No, they're not malls. No.
Malls are to hotels what plazas and mini malls are to motels. It's a different thing.
Yeah.
Do you get what I mean?
I do. Do
you like motels?
Sometimes.
I don't at all. I remember as a kid when we were going on vacation, we're driving to somewhere and we got to spend a night somewhere on the way to break up the drive. And when we show up and it's a hotel, it's like, this is going to be amazing. We're running the halls. There's an ice machine and all this stuff to do. And I love it. Then every so often we stop and it's like a motel and I'm just like, oh my God. Even as a kid, I was like, this seems dangerous.
Now, I liked motels when I was a kid. There's something about the decor, the flowered blankets and the weird wallpaper and the crappy TV and just the whole vibe.
The air conditioner in the window.
I find it colorful. And I stayed at a motel last year in Halifax, the Stardust Motel in Bedford.
You stayed there? I know that place. I drive by it and I think I can only imagine the antisocial things that take place in there.
No, it was nice and it was clean. It was super clean. I was really impressed. You could smell that the place was super clean. The room was decent. Yeah, I was impressed by it.
Okay. Shout out to the Stardust Motel in Bedford, Nova Scotia. Gets the Handsome Aaron Airport's seal of approval.
That's right. Now that I'm 50% boycotting Cove Soda, we have a little bit of room for a new product
new
to
business.
enter into the scene. Yeah, so I'm thinking the Stardust Motel.
Okay. There could be a collab coming. Record it live from the Stardust Motel.
I can't wait to interview the manager.
Let's move on to another fireworks story. This one's twisted. Victoria Park in Kitchener was closed to the public on Monday night after police say hundreds of teens gathered in the park and the surrounding neighborhoods, leading to disturbances, mischief, and a series of firework-related incidents. We'll call this story the pyrotechnic puberty problem in Kitchener.
An explosive bang rattles a downtown Kitchener street Monday night as a group of teens scatters to take cover. On the ground,
look at this.
Hundreds spill onto sidewalks and roadways as residents air their frustrations over the firework frenzy.
I don't need this in my home. Go home.
They're just, goofing off, shooting at each other, but then also they're aiming at our house. They're aiming at our vehicles in the driveway. They're in our driveway with the fireworks.
Ian Graham has lived on Joseph Street for decades. He says the pyrotechnic problem has only gotten worse.
It's getting bigger, and a lot of the residents in our area are getting really tired of a lot of it.
Chaos first erupted in Victoria Park.
They were lighting off fireworks right in the middle of the crowd, and then they disperse. And then I went back inside, and then probably 20 minutes later, they came up the street and they were throwing fireworks right in the middle of people.
Waterloo Regional Police, along with the city, shut down the park at 9 p.m., which pushed crowds into the neighborhood and the downtown core.
We did have reports and we did have arrests of firework-related incidences.
4 teenagers were arrested. One was charged with a theft from a fireworks business in Cambridge 3 days prior.
Thankfully, there were no reports of any injuries.
In a statement to CTV News, Kitchener Mayor Barry Verbanovic called the teens a very small group of delinquent young people, saying this type of behavior has no place in our community and those accused of wrongdoing need to be held responsible and must be brought to justice.
I really hope that the police have some way that they can kind of get this across to the youth and maybe make that much more, consequence for their actions.
The mayor described it as like a small group of delinquents. Looking at that video, it didn't look like a small group. That was a huge crowd of teenagers running wild with fireworks and God knows what else.
Yeah, small group. I don't know what he was thinking using language like that. Completely misrepresenting the situation. It seems like something that Trump would say, and to completely just flat out lie.
Even though there's video evidence, because in that news clip, we see video of what looks like 150 kids just like running in circles with fireworks being thrown around and going off in every direction. Only 5 arrested. You really had to do something wrong to get pulled out of that crowd if it's only 5 of them.
You would think, okay, we'll call the police. The police will break it up. Seemed like the police wanted very little to do with this situation.
Well, I think they were so incredibly outnumbered. The police showed up and they got everyone out of the park and shut the park down, it seems. But then the kids just were all in the neighborhoods kind of going crazy there. Again, the police were probably so outnumbered, there wasn't much they can do. And the 5 that got arrested, they probably just, maybe pushed it a little too far. I don't know what led to these 5 getting pulled out of the crowd, because the videos I see there, it makes it look like a bunch of people are doing illegal things. I got to address the elephant in this story, though. Some of these fireworks were stolen from the nearby community of Cambridge, Ontario, the same community that just last week suffered the theft of over 100 liters of ice cream.
Mm-hmm.
You know who could eat 100 liters of ice cream?
Teenagers.
150 teenagers going wild on the Victoria Day long weekend. We should say, this is a long weekend we're coming out of. This event happened because of the long weekend. The park is called Victoria Park, so I guess it's become this annual tradition that every Victoria Day long weekend, large groups of teenagers have parties in the Victoria Park. And it's a problem every year for the people who live around there. So 1 week before the Victoria Day long weekend, you take 100 liters of ice cream and some fireworks. Sounds like you got a good time.
Yeah, I think that theory checks out for me. I think that's 100% correct, that these teenagers stole the ice cream.
Mm-hmm. or paid off these three kind of hoodlum guys to go down and do it. Because it's two adults that are arrested. Well, one arrested. There's a warrant for one in the ice cream theft. They're looking for a third guy who fled on a bike. It sure looks like a man, but who's to say that under his coat there isn't like a teenager with another teenager on his shoulders pretending to be a man?
Or it's a puberty problem. So puberty is running wild here on a long weekend. So the guy just kind of shot up, had a growth spurt.
That could be. Or a fake beard. Or could grow a beard, because I guess like an 18-year-old.
Yeah, I could grow a beard in high school, so...
Not me.
No?
I had what would be referred to as a grub stash.
Oh, yeah, the classic 90s grub stash. Yeah.
This story, though, I've seen went to the idea of teenagers shooting fireworks at each other. I'm no stranger to that. And I'm sure you're not either. I've been hit by my fair share of Roman candles. I had a Roman candle shot at me and end up in my hood, and then it like exploded in my hood. But I didn't get hurt. It was just loud and kind of terrifying.
Yeah, I hate fireworks though in general. I have no time for it.
Unless they're like world-class fireworks that you'd see at like, Disney World or something. I find they're usually kind of underwhelming.
Unless I'm asking somebody to marry me. That's the only time I want fireworks going off in the background.
What about sparklers? The little stick, you light the end, it sparkles.
I know what it is, yeah. You like those?
Sparklers are exciting, yeah.
Exciting, really?
Yeah, I love having sparklers, and they're always a good time.
Always.
Like, I would challenge someone to buy a pack of sparklers from the dollar store, go out on your patio and light them, and tell me you didn't get your $1.50 worth for a couple sparklers. They're always a good time.
I just don't have any interest in fireworks or sparklers.
You know what you do have interest in?
Ending the show.
No, you have interest in starting a spin-off podcast that you call Dear John.
Ah, yes, the bathroom review podcast.
Where you will interview people, and then in the middle of the interview, you'll go to their bathroom, and then you'll review their bathroom before you come out and continue with your interview. A listener named Greg wants to let you know that someone may have stolen your idea.
Oh, God.
Hey, guys. This is Greg, your correspondent from Everett, Ontario. I just wanted to let you know that somebody is stealing your ideas. I was scrolling Instagram earlier today and saw somebody rating the best places to poop in Toronto.
And that whatever that Instagram account is, next week they're going to boycott like the local pop company.
I've seen I've seen this person best places to poop in different places and stuff. It's not exactly the same, but it did when I saw it on TikTok, I was like, oh, that's a pretty similar idea to what I had.
But you didn't go after them.
Oh no, I did. Yeah.
You reported it.
No, I sued them.
I think your idea is much better. Like, that's an interesting idea, and it's a cool way to view public places as, like, nice places to poop, like quiet and clean, whatever. But your idea is to a whole different level. You're going to get to know the person, get to know their bathroom, and then maybe see what about them makes this bathroom appropriate for their life, and what about them is infused in the decor of their bathroom. There's so much more to Dear John than just nice places to do your business.
Yeah, it's not just about what goes in the toilet. It's about who uses the toilet.
I like it. Let's end with that. Anything else you want to say, Handsome Aaron Airport, before we put a bow on episode 214?
I think we did it. Let's wrap it up.
Handsome Aaron Airport, until next time.
Jordan, bus stop, backhoe, Bonaparte, until next time.
90 seconds, I think, is more time than I even need. And like I said, 214 in numerology can mean solid foundation as well as new beginnings. I pledge from now on, I will still celebrate the numbers, but I'll do it in a timely fashion at the front of the episode, and we'll get right into the stories.
And Jordan, until next time, maybe instead of front-ending the episodes with facts about numbers, you just simply put a payphone in your front yard where people can walk by, pick up the phone and listen to facts about numbers.
A different area code every day.
Every day is a different area code.
Oh, and then on the little keypad, you could push any 3 numbers.
What number do you want to know about?
You just write, you click 214 and it will say, like, the robo voice will be like, 214 is the area code for Dallas, Texas.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
think that's the way to get your numbers fetish out. And that way we can get down to business here. We can kind of get rid of it from the show. And you can have your pay phone and everyone's happy.
I want to thank you for helping Aaron and I fulfill our mission to keep Canada weird. Now, if any one of you listening want to get more involved in what we're doing, we need all the correspondence we can get. So if something weird happens in your area, or if you have any thoughts on anything we discussed tonight, let us know about it. The best way to reach us is by using the voice recorder that can be found at thecanadiangothic.com/contact. Now, I'm going to start wrapping up the episode, but before we part, let us thank a few people. First of all, Aaron and I want to give a big thank you to all the correspondents who contributed to this episode. If your voice message was aired on the show, go back to thecanadiangothic.com/contact and fill out the form to claim your swag pack and Keep Canada Weird badge. We'll happily get it right out to you. Next, a big shout out to Unicole for the intro and outro voiceovers, and Monty Data, who provides the outro version of O Canada that you're about to hear. And then lastly, but most importantly, we have a massive thank you to every one of you listening, as without your interest and your support, this work would be impossible. And for any one of you out there who want to support the show financially and get more out of the show at the same time, please consider the premium feed. Our premium feed subscription costs just a couple bucks a month, and that money will fund the creation of new episodes. But the premium feed will also give you those episodes early, give them to you ad-free, and give you access to a full back catalog of Keep Canada Weird episodes and bonuses. You can go premium at thecanadiangothic.com/subscribe. And even if the premium feed isn't for you, you can still support the show by simply sharing episodes on social media. That's free, and it's a big help. So until next time, take care of each other, hug your loved ones tight, and please keep Canada weird.
And keep Canada weird. Please keep Canada weird.
And now to our viewers and listeners everywhere. Good night.
Hi there. My name is Robert Heipel, and I'm calling from Shanghai, China. I'm originally from Canada. I grew up there, of course, in Milton, Ontario, just outside of Toronto. And I lived in London, Ontario for 20 years. Now I'm in China. I've been here for 17 years, but I listen to your show every Saturday morning when I go to the gym. It's like a religion for me. As far as your number segment, I really think it's amazing. Numbers are very important, and we're coming up to number 214 next week. And it has significance for many things. Lead 214, PB 214, is actually a result of radioactive decay of uranium and radon. And in fact, 214 is also a semi-prime number because you get it by multiplying 107 times 2. 107 is a prime number, so it's considered a semi-prime number. Very interesting for mathematicians. And well, anyway, maybe that segment's not so good. That's really boring stuff. Anyway, I'm split on that, but I love your news stories. I think they're amazing, and please keep Canada weird.